A little bit. I'm a product of urban schools and music programs. I'm proud to say that I went to Balboa High School and went to public schools in San Francisco. And yes, I have a life out of teaching. When I was at a PTA meeting with Daniel Webster, and I had mentioned that I'd been teaching for 20 years, one of the assistant superintendents looked at me and she gave me this look like, "You ain't done nothing else?" You know, and so that's when I'll maybe pull out the credentials. But you know, I actually didn't start playing music until I was in the 10th grade, so I wouldn't have qualified for School of the Arts. I wouldn't have been able to get into certain things. I started playing until I was a sophomore in high school. I usually don't mention the professional musician part as much as I should, my manager tells me, because you know, I just don't think it's as relevant as the conviction I have of being a good teacher and being there for those kids. I haven't missed a day at Daniel Webster in 5 years. I won't miss. I'll make sure I get a lot better by Friday. Okay? Absolutely. No question. That's the most important job for me. Not that CD that's sitting on the table, not the job at San Francisco State. In my mind, the most important job I have is being a third grade teacher and being the best third grade teacher, and even telling the kids, you're going to be, if you stick with me, you're going to be the best third grade recorded class throughout San Francisco, guaranteed. You're talking about high expectations. I have high expectations. Okay, will it happen? Hopefully. Yes, Martha?
Say that John and I come from the same kind of community, the Mission, and that John has inspired not just youth, but other adults, musicians. He is an excellent composer. He's just more qualified than you can ever imagine. He's truly a jewel for us in San Francisco. I just want to say he's incredible.
So anyway, blah, 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 enough about me, community activists. My doctoral work was based on some of the same issues I asked you about middle school, and, you know, having, you know, the music program wasn't working for a certain segment of the kids. And, you know, I looked at all the issues that came up with it. Well, why weren't the kids buying in? Well, you know, if all we can do, well, meaning as we tried, is, you know, have a, you know, someone come in and teach choral music. I mean, how many boys, adolescent, challenged, Latino, African-American boys, it's time to sing Baccarat? Okay. Or, you know, music they can't do. I mean, are you going to get, what are you really going to get out of them? And most is going to be lip service. Okay. So, you know, my dissertation was based on that, and I was looking, what are the issues that we can, what are the things that are at hand, what can we make better? Well, how did we get there? We had, you know, it was in the 70s, we had, I grew up in a product of big music programs in San Francisco with Prop 13 cut, educational reforms, also relevancy. What happened what happened in terms of music making about the mid-'80s? What happened in terms of popular music? I grew up, I wanted to be popular music, you know, popular music's what I wanted to play. I wanted to play saxophone.
Technology.
Digital technology, right? So kids no longer, you didn't need to play guitar to make popular music. Yeah. The other thing I need to tell you, Brianna, is I was in B Street back in 1984. Wow. Okay. I tell my kids they can't believe me, so I kept my pay stub. It's one of the first hip-hop movies. It was in New York, I was in the city, and I, you know, so I tell that kids, oh, you too old for that. I go, no, it's right here.
Harry Belafonte.
Yeah, Harry Belafonte was there, and Ray Don Chong, so it was interesting. Also, teacher turnover. Just last year at 2 of our middle schools, we had teachers that left less than mid-year. Weren't ready for it, weren't ready for working with urban kids, had a hard time dealing with it, wrong type of program. Okay, and I think all these things, the effect is we've had a generation without sustained music programs. Okay, and I'm speaking in general. And then usually there's a lack of vision, concept, and understanding, meaning that, you know, can't we get the band up and running like tomorrow? You know, I mean, that takes, you know, it takes a long time to build a program. Warwick Carter was the dean of music at Berklee School of Music in Boston, and I'm just going to cut through this. Regardless of the opportunity for school music, minority students will not participate until they feel an inviting and supportive environment. Young minority musicians will continue to make music, but they will not make music in schools. And we saw that in the hip hop, right? I mean, that is just that skill set that comes with being able to ad-lib on the fly that we haven't figured out how to codify in the academy. They're making it, they're just not making it in school. Where we are today, especially at the high school level, students are entering with insufficient training experience. Now, what would be the reasons for that? And I do have some solutions to this. This is all leading to something. Testing, right? Especially Kids may not have access in middle school because they might have to take a strategic learning class, or the way the schedule is, they may not be able to take music for 3 years in a row, or 2 years in a row, or maybe just one semester. Okay? That's something that is all based off of the educational reform. When I went to school, you could take music for 7 years in a row if you wanted to. Again, high expectations and unrealistic goals. If you throw out a bunch of instruments to kids who've never played before, especially when they're in high school, you're not going to be able to get much of result or interest because the learning curve is so long for a lot of instruments unless you start at a very young age, right? You have to start them young. Right. Also, what's the other block in high school? AG requirements. I think in almost every high school in San Francisco, it's almost, except for School of the Arts, it's impossible for a student to take music 4 years in a row. Questions? Where we need to go? We need to change the culture at the university level. I can tell you that teaching at San Francisco State with my students, I mean, we're just duplicating it again and again and again. You can tell the music teachers who've never been outside of a classroom versus the music teachers who might have some relationship because they've had bloody hands, they've been out there playing, they understand the children's music, or they play their own music. You know, and when we say jazz, well, jazz program, well, jazz music itself is no longer an urban music. It's an intellectual middle class music. Okay? With a few not token, but a few names that we'll put up there to, you know, as the symbol that's still connected to African American music, but it's not. Okay? We need to incorporate other non-traditional music styles. Okay? How many music teachers are going to feel comfortable if all they've ever done was band and orchestra? And I'm not talking about bringing in an orchestral piece that, you know, is a top 40 song. I'm actually thinking about, you know, just trying to do something, you know, just trying to think outside the box, right? I mean, you know, why does drumming work? Because it's accessible. Okay? You can get good results within 6 months. I mean, they're not professional drummers, but, I mean, you try to get a good sound out of a flute or clarinet in 1 year, come on. Maybe you guys have played. It takes a long time. You're going like this, you know, the kids and that. Drumming classes work, right? Especially if there's a relationship. Like in San Francisco, we have Carnival, so there's a relationship between the drumming classes that they offer with samba, reggae, and Carnival. The kids know that. They see it. I was part of the first Carnival in 1979. The kids see that. They see the relationship. Most important, you have to validate the student's music, whether you like it or not. Because if you tell the kid that your music is, you know, it's not, well, if you tell them that it doesn't have value, or if you imply that, they're going to walk out the door. I tell my kids, oh, you want to do a hip-hop song? Okay. We're going to work on together. I'm going to give you the computer. It's not playtime. Okay? You can't use the X-rated version, so give me 2 versions of your song. One in G that we can do at school, and one in X we can do outside, if you so do it. Okay? You want to do the beat? I'm not doing the beat. You tell me how it relates to the other music that we're doing. You tell me how we put it together. But this instrument here is not a toy, so don't treat it that way if it's an instrument. Also, and what I'm leading to is cross-cultural competency. Maxine Greene said, how dare we, and I'm paraphrasing her, think that our children in the inner city, whatever code word we want to use, won't like ballet, won't like orchestra, won't like band. I've met very few elementary, that's where I've been spending the last 20 years, met very few elementary children that won't play an instrument, or at least make a serious attempt at it, yeah. And regardless of socioeconomics. School I'm at, Daniel Webster, my clarinet players, all live in public housing projects. And they all get excited about playing. Okay? You got to get them early.